Hi, I'm Tony Verhoeven, and we're talking industrial automation with Luigi DeBernardini with Autoware. And thanks, Luigi. Thanks for coming on board here.
Thank you, Tony, for this opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, the purpose of this video and this interview is just to get to know our system integrators. You've been involved with CSIA for a long time, right?
Yep, since 2009.
2009.
So, yeah, it's
okay.
almost 10 years. So.
Okay. Wow. Wow. It's hard to imagine. Here we are. We're almost in the future, right? In 2015, in the Back to the Future days, they said 2015 was the future, and so we're way beyond that. So
we're way beyond that. Yeah. And they were right. I mean,
yeah, right.
2015 was a kind of big change in our market, so it's a kind of future.
Yeah, but we don't have flying cars yet.
No, not yet. But we are getting there.
Okay. Well, you're an engineer, so how about you get on that?
Well, we are working hardly on that. I mean, there's still some concern and some things to fix, but we are getting there.
All right, I'm waiting for that. So we have jetpacks, though. Jetpacks are cool.
Yeah, we have drones, and there are some experiments and concepts on flying cars that merge with drones, and
I've seen that.
It's something that is
somewhere between drones could be like Uber and fly people around.
Yeah.
But we digress. But that's interesting. So you're not a mechanical engineer.
I'm not a mechanical engineer. I'm an electronic engineer.
Okay.
I had a specialization in telecommunications at the university, and then I fall into the automation world without even recognizing that I was falling in it, and I got in love with that, and I mean, that started my career, and then I'm here after almost 25 years.
Okay. So what do you like so much about control systems and automation? What makes you?
Well, I like the fact that I can see the effect of what I do. So when you program a control system, you see the consequences of what you do. You see the machine that is running, that is working. And when you work in a plant trying to optimize the processes, you see the results. You see the increase in production, the reduction of waste, the improvement of performance, and so on. So it's something that you can touch.
Right. You see. And so have you taken a plant from like total ground zero, not automated, to full automation, or where you really see that kind of effect, or is it more incremental because things are already there and you're starting to?
Well, it really depends. So we had both experiences. We had a very, very nice project back in 2005. It was a greenfield plant. We basically started working on that before the external walls were up. So they were putting in the lines, and we were working both on the automation and on the IT system for production. And it was a great experience because, we saw our product growing with the plant, and in about 5 months, we went from the real, very, very early start of the plant to the production, which was almost unbelievable.
Right.
It was a great, great challenge, but a very, very interesting project. And many other times we just work incremental on plants that are already running and producing, and we try to improve production or to add new production lines or to improve the performances of production or better coordinate productions and so on.
So what is a client of yours really trying to accomplish? Are they trying to make things go faster, better, more efficient? They see some sort of like, oh, we're not as profitable here. What is typically kind of that call that you get, or that figurative call or email that you get? What are they trying to accomplish?
Well, consider that probably today 80% of our business is on MES systems, so manufacturing execution system. It's basically the IT for the operations. So most of the requests that we get are to better manage the operations, to coordinate the operations. So it's not just related to improving performance or reducing waste. At least in Italy, where we have the most of our clients, the most of the requests that we get is really to coordinate and orchestrate the operations as a unique entity in order to improve performance, better coordinate people, reduce wastes, comply to regulations, but it's basically all of that. It's not just a single piece. I know sometimes it happens that the focus is just on improving the performance, increasing the OE, or managing the bill of material, or comply with some new regulation that is coming. But this is not so common. Most of the time is really trying to give to the operations a kind of providing to the managers a holistic view of the operations, and managing the operation as a unique entity that is fully coordinated.
Okay. So on the other hand, when you're out there obviously looking for people to help, what are you really trying to, well, I may take it this way. Do you have like an expertise in your company that you're really trying to push out there and say, hey, we can really help you do this part of your plant? Or is it that kind of overall type of
I think that
approach?
Our strength is the domain knowledge, especially in the food and beverage and CPG industry, of the operations, the full operations. So probably the difference that we provide, the added value that we provide is that we managed these kind of projects and these processes for several clients, big multinational companies or smaller companies, most of them multi-plant company, a little of them just single plant companies, but we are able, we know what is their pain, because we already saw different competitors, and so we know what they need, we know what they struggle with, we know how the process in their plants works, and so for a large extension we can provide even suggestions on how to improve them. Of course, every plant, every company is different, and this is something that you need taking into account very, very seriously, because you cannot enter a company and say, oh, you need to operate this way, because even if they produce the same product, they are in the same business, I mean, they have different organization because they have different people, and you need to deal with people. People are the strong asset of every company.
Absolutely.
So so the organization is different, and the solutions that you need to provide has to be tailored on their needs. So our strength is to leverage standard platforms, having some standard blocks that we developed during the history of our company, but being able to tailor them on the specific needs of the client, so that we give them the solutions that they really need.
Right. So that's interesting. I've heard this before, right? Sometimes people don't know what they want or need, right? And so maybe you have to go and help them understand of like what they're asking for may not be what they really need.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And in a spec, even.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the reason, because we have even a kind of unique approach. I cannot say it's really unique, but it's many clients see it as a very, very interesting approach. We have a kind of hybrid agile approach to our projects, which is basically we go into the client, we do the user requirements specification phase with the client. So we define their user requirements, but we do not go very, very deep to every detail. We stay at a kind of 70% level, and then basing on the user requirements, we try to find out which are the modules that can solve their requirements, and then we prioritize them and start to implement the first module. So when we implement the first module and we commission and start up it and the client start to use it, we go back to the user requirement and look at what's remaining, and we do together the exercise of thinking, is what we defined at the beginning still valid, or do we need to apply some changes? Mm-hmm. And many times you need to apply some changes, and it happens for two main reasons. One is that the client starts to better understand what the tool that they will have can provide them, and so they start asking something different. And the other thing is that their needs change during time. Today the market is changing so fast, and the clients need to adapt so fast to the market request, that the requirements change during the project time frame. So splitting the project in smaller modules and going back to review the requirements every time guarantee us to get to the end of the project that we are delivering what the client needs. It's probably a little different from what they thought at the beginning, but it's what they really need at the end. So it's a nice exercise that we need to do with the client together.
So so you mentioned kind of this modular maybe approach of development. Are you also, you must be using like an agile development type of approach then
Yeah.
as well then?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And so maybe for people who are listening and watching, maybe just explain what an agile type of development is in software development and maybe in engineering versus a watershed or
Yeah.
a waterfall, I guess.
Yeah, well, basically, a waterfall approach, you start defining the user requirement, then you define in very detail the functional specification, then you define how you will implement it, and then you implement everything, you test in-house, you test at the site, and you release it. So it's you release the project as a single entity at the end, so it's a kind of big bang. While with the agile approach, you typically split the project in smaller pieces that you call sprints. Each sprint has its own goals. You implement the sprint, you develop the sprint, during the sprint you develop the software, you test it at the end. Each sprint is typically no more than 2 weeks long. And then you move to the next sprint. So the time frame is reduced and you have a much better control of the project development life cycle.
Right, right. And so what would be an advantage of that from maybe even from your company perspective to the client's perspective of that kind of process, that approach?
Well, there are several advantages. One is that the client starts to use the system as soon as the first module is developed. So much before than what would happen if we would have a waterfall approach. And this reduce the impact on people because we are not releasing the full functionalities, but we are releasing just a small part of them. And so people have more time to adapt and adapt on a smaller quantity of changes. This means that they start to have some value back earlier, and so even the return of the investment is shorter because you start to have some savings or some improvements much earlier than in a waterfall approach. And from our side, we have a better control of the project. We are sure that we will deliver exactly what the client needs at the end. So we avoid all the discussions at the end that when the client has said, I didn't know that he could do that I could do that, or I thought that it was this way, or I ever did this way, but now with the system it's not the right way to do this, so I need to change. So this is something that is always painful at the end of the project, and we are basically avoiding all of this. And the other big improvement which benefits both the client and us is that you basically start a continuous improvement approach immediately at the beginning of the project. So when you end the project and you release the last module, you do not need to wait 6 months or 1 year to have the payback and settle what you did and fix all the things that need to be fixed or changes, but you can just continue to improve the system, adapt solve new problems, and you basically enter a continuous improvement phase immediately. And this is very, very beneficial, both for the client and for us.
Right, right. And so maybe bringing it back to where we had began, they sometimes don't always understand what they need, right? And so maybe, and things do change. Specs change as they are developing the proposal or the RFP, and then as you're implementing these things, maybe they didn't realize, oh, I didn't know we could do that, or I didn't know we needed that. So maybe this helps
absolutely
understand what they really need, kind of in a progression.
Yeah, they develop some expertise and knowledge and culture step by step, instead of waiting for the full system to start and then need to face this big monster that changes their life, their job life.
Right. So what are some of the exciting things that are going on in industrial automation right now that you're just learning and that you want to make sure that your clients should be aware of?
Well, you know, it's an exciting time in our business because there are so many changes, many new things that came out in the last few years, and everything is changing so fast that is really difficult to keep the pace with all these changes. So there are many things that are changing. There are many new technologies that are becoming affordable. There are some buzzwords that probably were mostly marketing since 18 months ago, and now they are becoming real, like industrial IoT, like machine learning, like cloud computing or edge computing, or I mean big data, all this kind of stuff, which is for sure just a buzzword in some way, but that identifies a technology that can help clients to solve new problems. So it's not a matter of the technology, of course, it's a matter of how you use it. And in this case, it's not a matter of a single technology, but it's a matter of how you can combine them to create a new type of solutions. So the landscape in control automation and even in MES systems is really changing, and it's changing very, very fast. What we are seeing is that many clients are really fascinated by these new words or concepts. If you put these new technologies together with the other two biggest buzzwords that we have in the market right now, which are Industry 4.0 and smart manufacturing. Industry 4.0 mostly on the European side, the smart manufacturing most on the American side. I mean, this creates a lot of excitement, a lot of expectations, and even a lot of confusion. So what I see is that many clients just think that these technologies will probably solve all their problems. Other ones are skeptical. But the good thing is that basically everybody now recognizes that they need to do something to improve their business, improve their performance, manage their business more efficiently. And there's no single recipe to solve their problems because each of them has different problems that depends on the goals that the company has, the market that need to serve, that they want to serve, the type of clients that they want to serve. But all these technologies can provide them a solution. They need to be integrated together, and the integration is a very, very important point. What is happening, and is even a little concerning me, is that there are a lot of cheap solutions which in some cases are really interesting, and they do what they promise, but this is creating silos in the plants. So you have a solution to solve problem A, then you have a solution to solve problem B, then you have a solution to solve problem Z, and all of these work well, but just to solve the single problem. So it's kind of going back from the holistic view to, again, silos where you have a very, very narrow view of a single part of your plant. And this is not sustainable long term, because the holistic view is tremendously important. So clients need to be, manufacturing companies need to be very careful in adopting these solutions. So looking at them with a very, very critical eye, and considering if they will be sustainable mid-term and long-term, or how they can be integrated. So the landscape is changing very, very fast, and this is forcing us to learn every day and to study every day and to keep us updated, which is very interesting and in some way even draining a lot of energy.
So you mentioned one of these new technologies was like IIoT.
Yeah.
So specifically, so when I think of IoT from the consumer side, I think of like there's a camera and it's Wi-Fi and it can connect and I can upload my pictures automatically to Facebook or wherever, right? And so that's or a refrigerator that says, hey, you're out of milk, right? Go pick, and it automatically talks to Amazon, and Amazon sends you milk in the same day through a drone.
Even if you don't want milk.
What's that?
Even if you don't want milk, because you didn't buy milk
it's going to come no matter what.
But the refrigerator will decide for you.
Right, exactly. So what are some of the technologies in industrial automation that are internet connected that weren't before, and what are some of the benefits of that?
Well, there are the most interesting thing in terms of IoT and industrial IoT is the availability of these new smart sensors. So basically, you can extend the control that you have and the knowledge that you have of your process, of your plant, of your equipments, installing pretty cheap sensors that are connected and can send the data somewhere in the cloud or to another system, and this is a cheap way to upgrade your system. This is, I believe that this is the main change and the most interesting thing. This gives new life to all the equipments. This helps you to improve the efficiency of existing equipments, existing assets, without having to modify the existing software or the control system, which can always be dangerous. And it's a cheap way to do that. So this is really changing the world, because we will have in the very near future so many data available on the systems, and we will have the capability to look for correlation of this data. And this will give us a totally different understanding of what's going on in the system. I will tell you just an example of something that we are approaching. We are doing a pilot project for food and bev industry, for a food and bev company, applying machine learning to the process. So what we are looking for is understanding if some of the process variables integrated with some variables about the quality of the raw material and of the finished good are correlated in some way in order to anticipate any quality issue on the product. So the idea is that, and it's something that the people in the plant don't know yet, because it's something that they know that for some reason something impacts or affects quality at some time, but there's no a clear idea of what's causing this. So acquiring all this data, adding sensors, not so expensive sensors, to monitor the quality of the raw material and of the finished good, putting all these in a mathematical model, or in a system that can create or by itself a mathematical model, and find which of these variables are correlated and which are not, will give them probably a knowledge that today they do not have of their system. And this is coming. This is you can do this for any kind of process and any kind of asset. And this is fantastic.
Yeah, so this is interesting. Obviously, information that can be gathered and analyzed real time while your plant is continuing to work, right? Continuing to produce something. Whereas maybe before, I'm just guessing here, but maybe before you had to wait maybe a month or two or a year before you maybe were able to really dig into this data, because
it's not only that you have the information real time, and having the information real time has a great value. I always tell an example to my clients. Having information in real time is like having some coins in your pocket and start hearing that they are dropping from your pocket. So you can put a hand on your pocket and you get home with some money left. If you do not have information in real time, you do not hear that they are dropping. So you arrive home and you see, oh, my pocket is empty. I had a hole in it and I lost all the money. So there's a big difference because you save money. It has an economical impact on what you're doing. So it's not only that. It's that you are being able to predict what's happening. So you can adjust your process in order to avoid issues. So you do not only know that you have a hole in your pocket and you are losing money. You know that you will have a hole in your pocket, so you can fix it before it happens.
Right. Send
this
that
is
pair
a
of
big
pants to
change.
the tailor.
Exactly.
Very good.
Yeah.
Good analogy. I like that. It makes it palatable for someone who's not come from this industry.
It's money. It's very easy to understand that you are losing money.
I think everybody understands
so there's
that.
an economical value on that.
Absolutely. So Luigi, let's back up a little bit here. You're from Italy, obviously,
I'm
right?
from Italy. Yes.
Yeah. Where were you born in Italy, and tell me kind of how you kind of got from a young lad in Italy to now you're traveling quite a bit to the States, but you have your business in there. So take us kind of maybe from being a young man in Italy to where you're at today.
Well, I was born in Vicenza, and Vicenza is a small town, about 120,000 people, between Venice and Verona in northeast of Italy. So it's quite a nice spot because we are 1 hour drive from the sea, 1 hour drive from the lake, 1 hour drive from the mountains. So we are in the middle. It's not one of the best places weather-wise because we have a lot of fog and humidity, but it's a nice place to live. I studied. I still live in Vicenza, so I was born in Vicenza, and I still live in Vicenza. I honestly still live in the same house I was born, so which is, I know, a little difficult to understand for in US, but we are not moving so frequently. I studied I went to the university in Padua, which is very close to Vicenza. I studied electrical engineering. I got a specialization in telecommunications. And then, and it was a very, very promising market because basically all my colleagues that got the degree a couple of years before, 1 year before me, they were hired before getting the degree for several multinational companies. But I got my degree in 1991. It was at the time of the first Gulf War. And basically all the market stopped just a few months before I got my degree. So even if I sent a lot of CVs all around the world, I got really very, very few replies. And so I started working in automation in a medium company in Vicenza, and started to learn what automation was, started to learn what was a PLC that I had no clue when I started. And then I always had a passion by myself for software. So I started to focus mostly on software, then on the IT part of the business, then on the standard control part. And after 4 years working in this company, I started my own company with some colleagues in 1996, Autoware, based off Vicenza. And we started working, doing automation, and then moving to IT services, MES systems, and so on. And we grew progressively. In 2008, it was the times of the big crisis, so we were struggling. I acquired all the shares of the company, and I was very lucky because one of the vendors of our main partners invited me at their sales and marketing conference in US. And it was my first trip in US. It was April 2008. It was a dream for me because I always wanted to go to come to US, but I had no chance yet. So it was, I mean, I was really happy, and I said, okay, this is my unique opportunity. It will never happen again. So I met, during the conference, I met a couple of people from US that had a company, and they were CSIA members, and they had a peer group. It was not just a peer group. Their peer group became a company, and they were looking to expand internationally. So we started talking, and I decided that this could be a big change for us. And so we joined. It's the Automation Alliance Group. It's still a peer group of CSIA members. It's a peer group of wonderful friends that I have from all around the world now, because part of the members are US, others are Canada, Colombia, Russia, Australia. So it's a good mix of people from all around the world. And one of the requirements to join this peer group was to be CSIA members and possibly CSIA certified, or at least to have the commitment to become CSIA certified. So I had to join CSIA, and honestly I didn't know what CSIA was, because as the brand CSIA in Italy was not really so famous. So I joined CSIA, I saw that there was a conference, and I thought, okay, if we have to do this, let's do it well. And so I came to my first conference in 2009, and I mean, this changed my business. This changed my life. So not only I came to US once in 2008, but I came back in November again. I came back in April for the CSIA conference, and then for some reasons things, you know, when you do something, things happens. They probably do not happen just by themselves. You facilitate it. And so starting from 2009, I'm coming to US 6 or more times a year. So last year it was 10 times, which is pretty a lot. 1 year ago I started a new business here in US, in Austin, Texas, and I'm excited because now things are really starting. So I'm starting the real business. We have some opportunities that we're working on, and it's a nice, exciting life. And what I can say is that really CSIA, and it's not because we are on the CSIA camera, but CSIA changed my life and my business life, because knowing so many people that do your same business, share your same pains, find solutions by themselves, and are willing to share those solutions and help you, really helped a lot. Because many times you feel alone, you feel that you have a problem, and you are sure that it's only your problem, that you're failing, nobody else will have that problem. And then you talk with others and they have the same problem. Some of them solved it, some of them are still struggling with it, and so it's really helping a lot.
So Luigi, why should a client care that a system integrator is CSIA certified and really a member of CSIA?
You know, I think that today, more than in the past, and especially for some kind of businesses, for sure for our business, the relationship between the client and supplier is not the standard client-supplier relationship. It's a kind of partnership relationship, because you need to have a long-term relationship, and you need to really trust your suppliers, because otherwise the relationship is not so efficient. So clients, manufacturing companies looking for a system integrator, they should care that the system integrator really manage all the aspects of his business correctly, so to be able to provide them a long-term relationship and reduce the risk. And CSIA, you know, is exactly around this. It's taking care of your business, applying the best practices, not only on managing projects, which is absolutely crucial, of course, but on all the aspects of your business, starting from the strategic planning human resources management, financials, up to cybersecurity, big theme today, big important thing, and to the support. And think just to the strategic planning. I mean, in such a fast-changing world, with so many new technologies, so many new opportunities and challenges, having a clear strategy and letting your clients know what your strategy is tremendously important, because you need to plan to work together for some times. And if you do not have a clear strategy, if you do not stop and spend some time on strategic planning, I mean, this could make you run out of business suddenly, and without recognizing that it's happening. Because not because you are doing things worse than in the past, but because the world is changing outside and you do not recognize that. So I think that I mean, really, the important thing is for clients, for manufacturing companies, is partnering with companies that take very seriously their business and all the aspects of their business.
Very good.
And the other thing that CSIA really helps is that having so many members that are willing to share, I mean, every partner can access a huge amount of knowledge and experience that can help him when he has a specific needs, or when he's in trouble, or when there's a specific request from a client. Even to support the clients worldwide, leveraging the other members that are good friends and trusted people.
I think that's one of the best things, is that the integrator community and the professionalism, and like you said, maybe that knowledge overall is increased because you all share, even though of course many integrators compete for the business. On the other hand, I think everybody's better together. Right,
absolutely.
Everybody shares information, and because they do that, especially under the umbrella of CSIA, it's better for an organization, or better for a manufacturer or processor.
That's very true. I think that even if we are sometimes competitors, I think that sharing knowledge and sharing experiences help to improve our market. And if our market improves, we all benefit from that.
Very good. Luigi, thanks so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for the opportunity.
Take care.
Thank you so much.